Good evening. It's the biggest development in Birmingham City Centre in more than a decade. The Grand Central shopping complex will open in September. It's taken 5 years, cost around £650 million and will create more than 1,000 new jobs in the shops and restaurants. Well, at the same time, the revamped concourse at New Street Station will be completed and the refurbished mailbox will reopen. But will the regeneration of the city centre help boost the profile of Birmingham on a national level? Our business correspondent, Peter Plisner, was among the first to be shown around the John Lewis store.
A hive of activity today as we got a sneak preview of the new flagship store. It's costing £35 million to build and it'll be one of the biggest stores outside London. Lisa Williams will manage it. She says its site on top of a railway station makes it pretty unique.
It's going to be really encouraging to see the rail customer come in, so commuters that are using the rail all the time, but I think people will choose to use the train to come in to see us, which will be great. Really ease of access and in fact concourse level escalator straight into the John Lewis shops.
This is the place many John Lewis shoppers will come to. The fourth floor, there's electricals, children's wear and the place to eat cafe. No John Lewis store is complete without an atrium. Here you can see the escalators have already been fitted. The store should have opened last year, but instead it was decided to mothball the site and open it at the same time as New Street and Grand Central. Ultimately, that now means delivering a better store for the city.
It's one of the positives. We obviously would have liked to have opened as early as possible, but it's absolutely right to open at the right time, and actually September will be the best time for the city centre, and we can now include concepts we wouldn't have been able to even 6 months ago.
But with the promise of ultra-modern shopping on the way, there are already concerns about the impact it'll all have elsewhere in Birmingham. When the Bullring Shopping Centre opened more than a decade ago, there was certainly a noticeable impact on footfall in the city centre, with some shops even closing. The big question is, with the opening of Grand Central and John Lewis, is it all about to happen again? Stores that are further away, like House of Fraser, might suffer initially, but according to analysts, ultimately it's all good for Birmingham as a whole.
I think there is a risk that the traditional high street will suffer in the short term because people want to come and see the newness, and a big development like John Lewis and the Grand Central development will be very attractive. So people will come and see it, but I think as a whole to Birmingham, that big investment will be a really good thing.
September's big opening coincides with other events around the city, including the Rugby World Cup. The City Council's working hard to make sure that despite that and long-term roadworks, everyone can get around.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work that's going on transforming the city, particularly in the city centre, but we've been working very closely with the event organisers to make sure that we've got the right plans in place to move people around safely, those visitors that are coming to Birmingham, so that they can get to the places that need to be and do that in the best way.
The completion of John Lewis, Grand Central and New Street Station will see Birmingham effectively reinventing itself and draw millions more people back into Britain's second city. Peter Plisner, BBC Midlands Today.
Well, many of the new shops and restaurants opening at Grand Central are looking to recruit staff from disadvantaged backgrounds in Birmingham. The city's central food bank is helping to prepare candidates for interviews, as Ben Godfrey reports.
Last month, Joe Belcher missed out on a big job, but it wasn't your typical 9 to 5. The 29-year-old stood in the general election for the Green Party in Erdington. How many votes did he get in the general election?
948, 10 votes less than the Liberal Democrats, so it wasn't too bad.
Now, he told me, he's struggling to find work, living in a hostel, and he recently used a food bank for meals.
It's quite rare to find those jobs. Like, there's only 650 MPs, there's only 650 jobs between millions of us, so you have to kind of settle for something that you don't necessarily want to do.
Joe's determined to find work at Grand Central, Birmingham's newest retail experience, and he's joined dozens of job seekers, many long-term unemployed, in workshops designed to give them a fighting chance.
I feel very honoured because, I like to be a part of the community that can give them good customer service and, something to look forward to and, to go wake up and go to work for.
Birmingham Central Food Bank has arranged these sessions. They helped feed more than 5,000 people in the city last year, 80% of whom were unemployed.
Half of this room are food bank clients. Those organisations that have these opportunities for people need to go more grassroots level. You can't get more grassroots than food banks.
What we're doing is preparing people to understand what employers are looking for in terms of skills, qualifications, attributes, so that when they actually go for interviews or the assessment process, they know what to expect.
Retailers, including John Lewis, have joined local authorities in promising many of the 1,000 jobs on offer will go to local people from a range of backgrounds. Ben Godfrey, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
And our business correspondent, Peter Plisner, is outside John Lewis store for us this evening. Peter, how important is this regeneration to the city as a whole?
Well, I think it's very important. If you look behind me, that's one of the entrances to New Street Station at the south of the city centre. There's never been an entrance to the station going southwards, and of course they're hoping that will lead to huge regeneration of things like the Chinese Quarter and southern parts of the city centre. There are some pretty rundown buildings, but of course regeneration is very much in the hands of private sector investors. They've had it tough during the recession, but they are now investing in properties, and we are seeing sites that have lain derelict for a long time become prime sites, and many of those sites are now close to New Street Station.
Still some way to go looking at all the cones and barriers behind you, Peter, but when it is finally open, is there a danger there could be a negative impact on other shopping centres in the city and elsewhere in the region?
Well, there certainly are worries. Take Solihull, for instance. There's already a John Lewis there. It's part of the Touchwood Centre. There are concerns about a reduction in footfall, and they're already fighting back.
Obviously, that will be what everyone wants to go and see. So we've now signed our agreement to bring the next phase of Touchwood into existence over the next few years, and that will bring our footfall back to the areas we want, creating us, or retaining us as one of the third best retail destinations in the UK.
Well, most agree that the updating of New Street Station and the arrival in the second city of a John Lewis store is long overdue. And for those who want to shop there, they've only have 3 months to wait.
OK, Peter Plisner, thank you. And there's more about the regeneration and the Grand Central area on the BBC Birmingham website. Police are appealing